Have a seat, kick back, relax, grab yourself a drink because it's time for the Wine and Whiskey Socialites with Jack and Chris. This is not family friendly and it's not a work appropriate unless, of course, you work in a brothel. With our last episode, we introduced ourselves just a little bit, but right now we're going to test monogamy. I think that's what we're about today. Constantly testing monogamy. We're going to talk a little bit more about ourselves and our significant others. So, since you've been in your relationship longer, do you want to start?
Sure. So, this is my second marriage, but of course the best marriage.
Well, because you always throw out the first pancake.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been married for 14 years. My husband's a musician, and I still remember when I had to call my mom and tell her that I was dating the lead singer of a band and I just got a tattoo. And she thought I was going through a midlife crisis, but...
So that's kind of similar, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Got myself a tattoo and got into a new relationship, a younger girl.
And I have a younger guy.
I know. And it was funny because I always said, I was 43 years old, got myself a tattoo, started dating a woman 18 years younger than me, that I was one sports car away from being a man in his midlife crisis.
Yep. It's so true. But it's so fun.
Yeah.
And 14 years later, it's still like a brand new relationship. We're still figuring it out. We've got a blended family, which is hard, and it can be hard at times. But we made it through. We made it through a lot of things. And I would say that the most important part of any relationship is being able to laugh and talk.
I absolutely agree. But I do have one question for you. So this is your second marriage. Were you nervous heading into this relationship or when you decided to get married, was there any kind of trepidation or hesitation because the last one didn't work?
Oh, God, yes. I was terrified. But I don't know. Him and I just had something I've never had with anyone else. Like, we could sit and talk, for hours on end. We finish each other's sentences. We just like all the same things. I have a spider. He's got a motorcycle. We both love snowmobiling. We're like best friends. So yeah, it just works.
So what was your mom more upset about, the tattoo or the fact that you were dating a musician?
I think the tattoo.
Well, my story is a little bit different. I was a single mom for a really long time. My boyfriend and I at the time broke up, and then a week later I found out I was pregnant. So then I spent basically the next 24 years of my life focused on my son. I did try dating a little bit, and I think that's a whole other podcast, talking about dating in modern times, especially with dating apps and dating sites. It's crazy out there. But I had always dated guys. And I mean, I'd been attracted to women. I used to joke and say that I was hetero-flexible, that I was bi-curious, and I found women attractive. And my mom might be surprised to know that I had, had some fun with other women. But I just always assumed that I would end up in a long-term relationship with a guy, before I died, because that's the path I was going down. And then she walked in to my workplace to pick something up, and we made eye contact. And my stomach flipped and my knees went weak and I got a little dizzy and I honestly thought I had the flu. And I was shuffling her out as quickly as possible before I threw up on her because I thought that's what, I had no idea that, as my son said, she zinged me.
And I think you must have messaged me within 10 minutes. And I was like, you were just flabbergasted.
Oh, it actually took me a couple of days before I started talking to people about it, because 2 days later she came to a comedy show and we talked until 5 o'clock in the morning. And the thing is that long conversation afterwards was not without its own hilarity, because it was her and I and a friend of mine, and around 3 a.m. my friend was like, I gotta go. I'm tired. My dog needs to pee. I need out. And off she goes. And the next thing you know, because we were left alone in the venue, and we were told they weren't going to set the alarm. But what we didn't know was that at 3 a.m. the alarm set itself.
Oh.
And the alarm goes off. And we're alone in the venue going, oh, my gosh. And the funny thing was, we were trying to figure out, I told my friend, go home, we'll sort it out. I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
And this girl disappeared. I'm like, hot little fuck left me alone. She bolted. But she has some knowledge of technology and communication. So she'd headed down to the basement to try to cut off the alarm at the source. I thought, yeah, that's just what I need. That's just what I need. If the cops showing up while you're sitting there, snip, snip, snip. And then it just kind of went from there. Suddenly I just had to be around this person all of the time, and I couldn't figure out why. And then eventually I realized that, I'd fallen head over heels for a woman who was younger than me. So I had to process that because, there are some differences from dating a dude, from dating a girl. And guys who are listening, I'm just going to give you a heads up. Props to you because we're hard work. I don't mean in like the relationship status. I mean in other areas because my hand cramps up from time to time. I'm not going to lie.
Oh my God. Well, my husband plays guitar, so he's got magic fingers. I know what that's all about.
We've had this conversation before. You're like, he's a musician. He's good with his hands. I said, I talk for a living. I must be good with my mouth. My girlfriend was mortified. You were mortified. So there was this whole like shift in my thinking. And of course there was that moment where I'm like, what are people going to think? Not that I really care what people think. I do what I want to do anyway. But I had a few people I knew I was going to want to talk to first, and my son was one of them.
Yeah.
And I love this story because I messaged my son and I'm like, "Hey kid, I need to talk to you. I've met somebody. I really like them. I think they like me too, and I think this could be something amazing." And my son came back with who is he? Where's he from? And how old is he? I responded the thing is, he is a she. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And he came back with same questions, different nouns. I was like, yes, score one in the parenting. Yep. So I said, well, her name, I told him her name. We're going to leave names out here.
Yes.
I said, and where she was from and everything, and sent it off. And then he's like, and how old is she? And I said, well, she's 25, and it came back all in capitals. Damn, mama, you got game. So then I embarked on this relationship. We've been together for over a year. Mm-hmm. There is the age difference, so there are some definite interesting conversations.
Yes, she needs to get caught up on a lot of movies that she's missed out on.
Well, that's just that she's not big on pop culture, and that's all I know, right? So, I kept making references, and she didn't know what they were, and I'm like, that's it. And I sat her ass down, and we watched The Labyrinth, and we watched The Princess Bride, and we watched Ghostbusters, and trying to get her caught up on some of these movies. But it's not been as difficult as I thought it would be. I wasn't sure how people were going to react to the fact that I was in a same-sex relationship. But I'd been single for 24 years. People were just so glad that I wasn't dead inside.
Exactly. Yeah, they just want you happy.
Exactly. But, I mean, I've never been in such a serious relationship before, and it's interesting.
It is interesting.
But I will say this, to all the single ladies out there, find yourself a lesbian that fits. It works.
Or a musician with magic fingers. They're wonderful, too.
I'm just saying the toilet seat is not an issue, okay? It's always down.
Well, my guy, he always leaves it up for me, or down for me, sorry. The seat's up, the thing is down. You know what I mean.
The lid is up, the seat is down.
Exactly.
You're having issues over there. What the hell is in your London fog tonight?
Maybe I'm drinking whiskey tonight. Who knows?
Oh, my goodness.
We had kids, and we didn't want to bring our kids into our relationship right away. So I live in a very small town. And he's at the time, was a very popular musician. They were playing out all over the place. And we managed to keep our relationship secret for 6 months. Yeah.
Wow.
We were like the best kept secret in the town.
I have like no secrets.
Yep. And then we finally decided to let people know. And it was, from there on out, it was a year later we were married.
Well, we had people who knew something was going on before we even did, just because of how much time we were spending together. And the thing is we did kind of keep it social media quiet for a while, just because there were other feelings of other people involved. And, we just wanted to make sure that everything was sorted out. And there were certain people in my life that I didn't want them to find out on social media. I wanted to tell them myself.
Yeah.
But as soon as we were ready to go public, I'm telling you, I plastered that stuff everywhere because, first of all, she is an amazing person. Yeah. She is intelligent and thoughtful and generous and compassionate, and she's fucking smoking hot. Like, I don't know how the hell I got myself such a hot girlfriend. My boss at my day job came in one day because we were at a wedding together, and he came in and he walked in and he was like, Chris, I'm like, yes. He's like, I never thought I was ever going to get to say this to a woman. And I said, what's that? He's like, high five on the hot girlfriend. And I know the feminist in me should have been like, excuse me. But I was like, I know, right? And we're like, high five. Because I was just, and I texted her right away. I'm like, the moment my boss comes in and congratulates me on my hot girlfriend. And she's so modest. She doesn't see it.
Yeah.
But, I'm a lucky woman.
And one thing, too, both our partners are very giving. They both give back to their communities. They both like to help out. So we're very lucky that way.
And, you know, the thing we haven't really mentioned, and I'm actually surprised you've stayed very quiet about this, right? I'm surprised that you haven't thrown in there once yet taking credit
because
of her and I meeting.
Well, I thought we did that in the last podcast, but I'll bring it up again. I lost my house to a house fire so that Chris could meet this wonderful woman.
Yeah. So let's break it down before there's an insurance fraud case against Jack, okay? So what happened was your home caught fire.
Yes.
On a very, very cold winter day.
Yes, it was like minus 32.
Exactly. And my girlfriend was working in the area on her job, and she happened to be on scene. Yeah. And you two didn't know each other, and I wasn't aware of that. She saw you upset, she saw you crying. She was actually one of a couple people that kicked in the door of the house.
To help save my cats.
As soon as they found out that there were animals inside. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing I know, and to backtrack a bit, my girlfriend and I had known of each other for a long time. She'd actually added me on social media probably about 6 or 7 months prior to that. But we'd never actually really met face to face. We had one chance encounter when we were at the same event together, but we didn't really talk. So next thing I know, I see on social media that she has an online fundraiser going for you, for your house. And so I just assumed she knew you and that she was from the area.
Yes.
And and so I reached out and I said, look, I want to help. I want to help you raise money. I'm going to do a comedy show and we'll donate money from the show. And that's how it all happened. And then I found out she didn't know you. She didn't know anybody involved. She just happened to see how upsetting it was for you, how traumatizing, and she wanted to do something. And that was a testament. But you have decided ever since then
that I'm the reason you're together.
That you're our little Miss Matchmaker with your burn and love
exactly
matchmaking services. Now, we must put a disclaimer out there. We do not recommend that people burn down their houses so their longtime single friends could possibly meet somebody, because it's not always a good idea. Not always going to end this well. The other cool thing is that your husband and my girlfriend are also both musicians.
Yes.
Now, I know she won't look at herself as a musician, but she's quite talented. And it's kind of cool how we've just kind of blended as a group and have a lot of fun together. And and of course, your husband just thinks the world of her.
Oh, he does. He thinks she's like just wonderful. The cutest little thing ever.
I know, just adorable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I pick him or can I pick him?
You sure can. And you know, like some people ask me, you're in a newer relationship, but some people ask me, you know, how do you keep the spark alive after 14 years? How do you guys still get along? Well, we don't always get along. We have some drag down, knockout fights. My husband's mom used to say, if you know, couples who fight last longer if you get it out and air it out, but can still talk about it and, you know, make up after it and say you're sorry or admit when you were wrong. And that's the big part. That's what we both can do.
Well, the thing is, my girlfriend is younger than me. And to be fair, neither one of us were in a whole lot of relationships before we got together. And she was afraid of our first fight. She was afraid of how it would end, how it would go. And I kept telling her, I said, it's going to happen. And she really didn't want it to happen. And so I think at one point we were both just kind of denying how we felt about something or swallowing something back because we didn't want that fight to happen. And one thing that we've learned in the time that we've been together is that as long as we come back afterwards and talk it out, we're going to be okay. As long as we can keep that line of communication open.
Yeah.
And something she says to me all the time, and yes, I'm tooting my own horn here just a minute. She keeps saying to me, she's like, how do you know how to do this? How are you so good at being in a relationship? And I'm going to be absolutely honest, and I want all the guys who are listening in to pay attention. If there are no guys listening in but girlfriends and wives, drag them over. I'll wait. Go get them.